you to all of you. Thank you, Tito, for the introduction. And I think thank you for being here. I think it says a lot, speaks volumes that all of you are here. We obviously know what's at stake. We also know what we're up against. And I think we also know what we have to do. We know what's at stake. We know that the very livelihood of our country is at stake. Just this week, we hit the debt limit. We know that we are facing one of the most trying times in our country's history. We all know this. We know what the unemployment level is. We know how expensive gas prices are. I don't need it to remind all of you what we're up against. We are up against individuals and special interest groups that are determined to increase the size of the federal government, to make it more intrusive, to make it costlier. We have seen this advance, and we know what that does for us. We know what that means for our liberties, for our freedoms. And that's why it's so critical that all of us, I think, play a very important role in being engaged, in being informed. And I think that it goes to my next point, which is taking that step to find those elected officials who appreciate and who are not afraid to say that our country is exceptional. And I think that we need to continue to find those elected officials who are willing to defend liberty, to defend freedom. And that's why it's so important that we identify those individuals who are willing to take that step, to go out there and say, I'm going to go and serve in government, not for the special interests that elected me, but because I believe in what makes our country so unique and so important. Tito and I hit it off, I was just saying, because he and I are similar. We're both immigrants. I came to this country at a very young age. I was 5 years old. My family came here from Mexico. And in fact, I was just in Mexico for business a couple weeks ago. And I'll tell you, nothing makes you appreciate our country so much than going abroad. And there's little things. And I mean, Mexico has a very special place in my heart. But the fact is that there are many things that we take for granted in this country, you know, and going out and visiting other countries that have allowed that advance of the government to grow, that have encroached those liberties, that created this pessimism, and that's what I saw in Mexico when I was back a couple weeks ago, and you see how the government has grown, where it has basically it controls the individuals, because people believe that a government can do everything for them. And as we know, any government that can do everything for you can take everything away from you. And that's what we're seeing right now in Washington and state capitals around the country. We're seeing these elected officials who are promising us the world. But what we're seeing, of course, is that when they promise us the world, we become more dependent on them. And so I'm happy to stand with Tito and the elected officials who are running for office here, because we appreciate what makes our country unique. And beyond also economic issues, you know, on social issues too. We're not afraid to say that, you know, every individual has their rights, not from the state, but from our Creator. And I think that's important that we continue to make that, to be proud about that. You know, a lot of people, especially a person in the White House, you know, is a little shy about saying that. You know, and I think it's important that we say unequivocally that we get our rights not from the state but from our Creator. So I'm happy to stand with people who are not afraid to say that, who are proud to say that, and who realize what we need to do to take our country back. We need to stop spending as much as we can. You know, I think elected officials there are spending like there's no tomorrow. And of course, we know what that means to the deficit. We know what that means for our national debt. We know that we're borrowing almost $4 out of every $10. You know, we're borrowing that money, and you know, our children and grandchildren are going to pay for that. And so we need to put some fiscal restraint that is sorely needed. We need leadership on the foreign policy level too. We know that we're fighting in 3 camps in the Middle East, and we need to have a president who's out there who's willing to stand up for American values, to look out for us, and to not be apologizing to every national leader around the world. So these are all the things that that I believe in, and I know a lot of you here in this room believe the same thing. And so, Tito, I wish you the best. I wish everyone who's running for office the best. I pray to God that He will guide each of you who are running for office to stand up for what's right, to do what's necessary for our country. Thank you.